Welcome to week 18 of Beloved Blackness. I'm Dr. B. So, we took last week off unexpectedly because I had my family, we experienced a death in the family. And so I've been really reflecting on what would be a meaningful Beloved Blackness contribution to make today. And what I thought about in light of what we've been discussing in terms of an African worldview. We've been talking about cosmology in terms of the essence or structure of the universe, in terms of an African worldview, being interrelatedness or interdependency, the ontology being the essence of things, a spirit of consubstantiation, Ubuntu, I am because we are, therefore I am. The axiology is person to person connection. The epistemology, in terms of a felt sense or spiritual sense of things, not just needing material data in order to know that something really exists. And I think something that'd be really important that could kind of concretize some of those is a ritual that's called a water libation. So you may have seen on TV where back in the day especially, you'd see brothers after someone died, they'd say, they'd have a bottle of liquor, and they say, I'm gonna pull out one for my homie, and they'll pour a little liquor on the ground. Or a lot of people don't know that that actually comes from an African ritual or tradition called a water libation. And all a water libation is, it's just a ritual of remembrance. And so if we think about the impact of the Maafa, that there's so much that we've been stripped from, and that even we have misconceptions about what different rituals mean that are indigenous to who we are as African descended people, that it's important for us to reclaim because a tree cannot grow without its roots. And so for us to reconnect to some of the roots of who we are culturally, I think kind of talking about the water libation and actually doing one would be really important, especially in light of this recent transition of a family member. And so, like I said, what a water libation is, it's a ritual of remembrance. It's literally thinking about, when we think about African cosmology, the circle of life, that when people die from this physical plane, that their spirits are still alive, and that there's a circle of life. Do you remember we talked about that early on, that an African worldview takes into consideration the fact that those who've transitioned, our ancestors, are also connected to those who are still here, including the children as well as the elders, and have a respect within even the earthly lineage or circle of life in terms of the children, but even those who aren't even born yet, and that they are part of the circle of life, and that when they come, that God has a purpose for them as well. And so today I'm just going to do a water libation. And so just want to honor the fact that we all come from spirit, and God is at the essence and center of all things. And so I want to pour libation in honor of that and who God is. And so in pouring and using water, we're using water because water is a symbol of something that we need to sustain life. It also represents purification and replenishment, and part of being able to use water also represents cleansing. And so it's a symbol of the essence of life. And so we start off by honoring the fact that God is at the essence of all things, and it's in God we live and move and have our being. And after we pour the libation into the plant, you can also, if you're outdoors, pour it onto soil. You say the words Ah-Shay, and what that means is so let it be, or so it is so. And so we also want to honor those who've come before us, and so all those ancestors who've paved the way for us to be where we are today. We pour libation to them and we say Ah-Shay. And I even remember my mentor, who was the catalyst. His transition was the catalyst for me starting Beloved Blackness. And so I'll just say Baba Kobe Kambon Ah-Shay. And we remember those who have not yet been born. And so we acknowledge those. Ah-Shay. And we acknowledge all those who are with us now, our family and our friends and the circle of life, and those who are within our community. And we say Ah-Shay. And so you can just insert maybe the name of a person, a loved one who may mean something important to you, who's transitioned, and you can say that person's name, and I'll silently say the name of my family member. Ah-Shay. And so this is just an example of how an African cosmology, ontology, and axiology, in terms of kind of connecting to the interrelatedness of life through a ritual, through a water libation, ways in which we can be able to connect to our sense of our culture, our heritage, to anchor ourselves in times of loss, in times of grief, to remember that I am because we are therefore I am. And so even when we have those who've recently departed, we know that we're still connected to them through the memories, through the experiences that we have with them, and then for those who believe that their spirits are still alive, also through their spirits. All right, until next week.